of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce. We all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
When people are fed, futures are nourished. They can connect with the world around them, unlock endless possibilities, and thrive. Join the movement to end hunger. Volunteer. Advocate. Donate. Go to feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Hey there, Chief Meteorologist Matt Walpon. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 5. And I guess we start with a question. What are you doing watching us? It is beautiful weather. It is August. It is almost never this nice outside. And it's not necessarily going to stick around. We had another cloudy day today, though, starting to clear out, as you can see on some of our Mississippi, North Mississippi storm chasers and spotters cameras out there this afternoon. I think we're staying fairly dry overall, despite the clouds, the moisture up there in the atmosphere, but we don't have really good lift and forcing to produce meaningful rainfall. The chances aren't zero as far as rain's concerned, but they're going to remain fairly limited over this week, expanding drought conditions for some spots, but the heat will start creeping back in, especially by the weekend and looking toward the first part of next week. Now listen, we're not as hot as we were last week with those extreme heat warnings. Thankfully, the pattern is much more forgiving for us going forward. Outside right now in Aberdeen, showing again that mix of cloud cover. It's been all day of clouds, but we're finally starting to see those thin out a little bit more, coming in 82 degrees at this time. Our winds out of the north and east at only about 6 miles per hour or so. As we check out a few of these cameras at this time, and Crenshaw there showing up, of course, clear on all our radar shots there around the region. Only some puffy clouds. A few of those getting a little taller, but there's really an overall limit on how tall they go because the atmosphere aloft, we still have that large ridge of high pressure sitting down on us. We're just kind of in the weaker zone, allowing at least some clouds and apparently a few bugs out there at this time. Those winds fairly calm in Crenshaw at this moment. And as we check out locations down toward around Winona, we're 91 degrees. It does feel like 95. So again, cool is a relative term. It's not 110 like last week. That 15 degrees, a big difference, though you have seen more sunshine there than most. We'll be 85 on the average by 6 p.m. Again, heat indices a little warmer in that some spots, especially you've seen more sunshine like this has been the case in the Delta. 76 by 9 p.m., 73 as we look toward around midnight. We're down to 70 by 3 o'clock in the morning and looking in the upper 60s by 6 a.m. Again, those winds relatively light. On the wide shot here, not a lot going on for our region. Nearest system of any real significance up there toward the northern plains. I'm going to go and kick it over here and show our satellite on kind of the wide shot here. We'll use our color infrared satellite, kind of does a better job of kind of grasping what you have going up there toward Winnipeg, Canada. That largely kind of heading away from us, a non-factor for our region. We have this kind of trough of low pressure that's been kind of sitting here. That's why we have all this kind of the colors you see stretching from Guadalupe back up there along the coast out toward the east coast. That all associated with just a little bit of convergence, and that's where the rainfall has been. We are a little north of that. And of course, we have Dexter out there in the Atlantic. We'll look at that with your tropical update coming up at 6 o'clock, but that is largely staying out to the east. And there are a few other areas that we're looking at, possible eventual development out in the Atlantic, one of those way out there toward the African coast. So a long ways away from us. And so we are kind of part of this zone where there's just not a whole lot going on at this time. Not that I think a whole lot of folks are terribly upset about that. Come back here to Mississippi Live Weather Radar. Again, any of the rain chances that we have seen down closer to the coast, where again, it's just the spotty stuff we typically expect this time of year in this sort of situation. So looking at Futurecast into this evening as we wind things again just a little bit more. Most of those showers down there south of Jackson, closer to Hattiesburg, closer to Baton Rouge and New Orleans. We show a couple up there in the Tennessee. Well, this has one little itty bitty sprinkle showing up there back out in the Delta west of Oxford there. Again, this is not expected to be really much in the way of precipitation. I think the vast majority of us are dry in this pattern in the next few days. There's just this little weakness in our overall ridge, high pressure to the east, high pressure to the west, and so we kind of find ourselves in the sweet spot where we don't have enough lift to produce meaningful rainfall, but we also don't have enough lift. We don't have just completely dry conditions for blazing hot like is the case for locations back to the west of us. So rain chances down closer to the coast and the Gulf. Trying to say both at the same time. Don't recommend that there. And so we stay dry into the overnight hours. That nearest system to the north and west, largely a non-factor for us really anytime soon. So from 69 at 6 o'clock in the morning, we're 79 degrees by 9 a.m., 88 by noontime, 89 as we head toward 3 p.m. with a rain coverage only 10% or so. Could a couple pop-up thunderstorms occur? Yes, but I think that's probably more the exception to the rule. And 89 is high for some locations near the Mississippi-Alabama state line. We've just had these lingering clouds last couple days. I think they probably stick around once again into your Wednesday for some locations, but I think more of us clearing a little more quickly. Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll be looking at whether or not you're included in that kind of lingering cloud cover as we break down our rainfall chances for the week and, of course, get that sneak peek at the weekend forecast as Mississippi Live Weather at 5 o'clock continues. Live here, of course, from the Room to Room Weather Center.
For more than 100 years, First Choice Bank has provided dedicated community banking to North Mississippi. The banking products and services you need when you need them. At First Choice, you're our priority. Make First Choice your choice for banking.
Dijimos que nunca romperíamos la regla de los 3 segundos. Nunca haríamos esto. Y nunca nos convertiríamos en una mamá con minivan. Como padres decimos nunca sobre muchas cosas, pero los nunca a veces suceden. Así que, aunque digas que nunca dejarías a tu hijo en un auto caliente, es algo que puede suceder. Antes de alejarte del auto, siempre para, mira, cierra.
At Room to Room, did you know our specialty is custom ordered upholstery? Get the furniture you want and the fabric and color selection you want. With our free design service, we won't let you make a mistake.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobheim.
We're live outside in Pontotoc this evening as of about 5:07, 5:08 or so. Again, partly cloudy skies. It's taken all day to get it sunny as we're showing up there right now out in Pontotoc County. Temperature coming in 82 degrees. A lot of cool, puffy cumulus clouds. Always make for some nice pictures if you want to send those in. We're looking north there. And do, of course, want to give a shout out to the North Mississippi Storm Chasers for supporting us here, allowing us to utilize these cameras, which are, of course, going to be more and more important as we progress into eventually fall severe season, but not complaining about the fact that today we don't have any of that to look at this time. As we check out conditions there in around Amory at this instant, coming in 82 degrees for that current temperature at this time. It feels like temperature a little bit warmer at 88, but come on. 88 is brilliant in comparison to where we have been under these mostly dry and partly cloudy skies. But again, that cloud cover has lingered a long time there. But where it has not, obviously in Cleveland, we're still reminded it's summer. American flag, their old glory, just kind of hanging a little bit down as we're not overly breezy, only at about 6 miles per hour. 91 degrees, the temperature feels like 97 at this time. Again, those clouds a little more puffy and trying to build there where we've cleared out that deck of stratus that's kept us locked in all day long. And then one more shot here down to Mabe, and again, locked in the clouds. Had not really seen a whole lot of clearing there all day long, yet still 90 for that feels like temperature as of the 5 o'clock hour. Weekend forecast, that heat is starting to creep back in a little bit more there, and we can start arguing for some better rain chances by the weekend. The next couple of days, rain chance does not drop to zero. We still, generally speaking, have lower pressure relative to what's going on in the Atlantic and back toward Texas. But we don't have any real true systems overhead. So the next couple of days, rain chances aren't zero. They start creeping back a little bit more by Sunday in particular, maybe Saturday, but I think Sunday, and temperatures back into the lower 90s on the average, meaning heat indices back up above 100 degrees by that point in time. So the heat definitely is starting to work back in by then. So we're limited on the rain chances each of the next 3 days, 10 Arguably 20%, but I think we're probably pushing it there. We start creeping up a little bit more by Saturday and Sunday with at least limited rain chances heading into the first part of next week. But this pattern is dry. Pretty dry, and if you're lucky enough to get into one of these showers, yeah, the brief heavy rainfall is there, but it's the exception to the rule. Your day planner for tomorrow, heating up a bit more than today from 71 at 6 a.m. will be 79 by 8 a.m., 84 by 10, and then somewhere around the 90-degree point at the peak temperature out there. But if the cloud lingers for you, the clouds, that is going to keep those temperatures down somewhat, and that'll be the case for many locations. So we are dry on Mississippi Live Weather Radar at this time. Our Futurecast continue to try to depict maybe a couple isolated showers out there into this evening. Most of us, though, as you can see, are dry. It's just a non-zero rain chance. Anytime we see just those little poofs trying to pop up there, most of us, again, not expecting to have a whole lot out there as we spend mostly clear conditions overnight. I'll be honest, I think that's overdone on this, because here's the deal. We've had this cloud cover that's refused to break yesterday, refused to break today, emanating from locations to the east. That's going to build back in, so I do think that this is underdone on here, and I think that thicker cloud line could again be US 45 corridor, maybe just slightly west of that. So that sets us up again for milder temperatures tomorrow morning. We'll show 66 in Red Bay and Hamilton, Alabama, 69 Vernon, but of course temperatures haven't warmed up much today. I do think that maybe it could be a degree or two warmer than that for a couple of those spots if that cloud cover is slightly thicker, and I do think there's a greater chance of that happening. 69 Grenada, about 70 for Greenwood there. You could see those low temperatures on the increase as well the next few days. As these start creeping up, that's a sign of the lower level moisture, the stickiness factor starting to come up, because anytime you're kind of mid-70s begin the day, the air conditioning, of course, has to run more during the overnight period, and I think that's the case as we head into this upcoming weekend. Here's a look at Futurecast as we look toward tomorrow. First thing I note looking at this, I think it is way underdone on the cloud cover here. Tupelo, Amory, Aberdeen, Columbus, up toward Fulton and Iuka. I expect that there will be more clouds than what this indicates, and you do see here that Futurecast tries to build those more in 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning for tomorrow. I think that combination of things tells me that we're going for some of these temperatures near the Alabama state line that are a little bit cooler. When we show you high temperatures, we're assuming clearing here in a minute. We'll show you that in more detail here in a second. Kind of the wider shot there, we again have a lot more moisture back out toward Atlanta and out toward the East Coast associated with this kind of trough that you see there, that brown line showing up. And so the majority of us still dealing with a decent coverage of cloud cover for tomorrow, but definitely their best chances for rainfall down towards South Mississippi, down into Louisiana, and out there toward the Florida Panhandle, locations mainly to the south of us. As we progress into the afternoon, again, mostly dry. Rain chance isn't zero, but notice, even on Futurecast, which has had a tendency to be a little overdoing it from time to time on rain chances, it doesn't have much out there. So we're pretty low on those rain chances for tomorrow. Coming in around 91 degrees Water Valley for the high, 93 Greenwood, Belzona, 92 for Clarksdale, and 94 for Greenville. But you notice the contrast there. It's a 10-degree difference between that and almost, 9 degree, between Hamilton, Alabama, Red Bay, and Iuka there. That difference is because, of course, sunshine all day, not as much east, and I think, again, we probably a little high there on Vernon or Columbus. Could be more like 87, 88 degrees for some of those spots where that cloud cover sticks around just that extra little bit. But of course, if you break in the sunshine slightly earlier, Louisville, we're also probably underdoing the temperature there. So again, cloud cover is the key story again for tomorrow. On the Futurecast here into tomorrow evening, we keep it mostly dry as we continue to have kind of this easterly wind, a direction that relative to our different wind directions this time of year keeps us relatively dry. We have the clouds with that on kind of a northeast breeze, and that's why we still have those clouds again thickening up the first part of early Thursday morning on our strike model here. As we progress throughout Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy skies, this does try to depict perhaps a couple isolated storms. What I think it's struggling with is the fact that we do have a weak little wave that's kind of rotating in. And on the wider scale here, the first thing you'll notice is that these are very small showers and thunderstorms that try to pop up on here, right? So possible that we see a couple of these isolated storms popping up there, but the majority of us in the region, it's more toward Birmingham, Montgomery, Alabama, out there toward north of Atlanta, Georgia, where there's, I think, a bit more in the way of active weather. So again, this is why we say it's not a zero rain chance this week. It's just I'd be counting on watering as opposed to Mother Nature bringing us some precipitation, because that's probably not happening with this pattern here. As even for those folks looking for maybe some front or something like that to get in here and try to bring us more reasonable rainfall, you can see the nearest one still well back to the northwest. Even as of the midnight time period, pre-dawn, early Friday morning, we're still more than 900 miles away from our nearest front. So not exactly a sign that we're going to have a lot of meaningful moisture from that. High temperatures, as we look toward your Thursday, we're about a 93 Water Valley. Notice we're up to 91 in Tupelo, 90 degrees in Amory by your Thursday. Thinking is most of that cloud cover, the thickest cloud cover, the stratus clouds. And we have the different layers of clouds, but that blanket of cloud cover is what typically insulates us the most. That is most effective to the east of us, I think, by Thursday, allowing those temperatures to warm up a bit more. We'll be around 100 degrees for the heat index, though, in Greenville by Thursday, so we're back up to there. And even near the Alabama state line, we're 95 there in Tupelo, 96 in Amory, and 96 that peak heat index as of at least 3 p.m. there on your Thursday in the afternoon, so still staying a bit warm. That wet bulb globe temperature, it's one of those things we've used, of course, to judge whether or not we're dealing with heat injury risk out of this. It's not as high as it was last week, but it is starting to creep up closer to the high category where we need to start thinking about some limitations for those outdoor activities for kids, for parents. Are you doing cross country? Those kids still doing their conditioning. How's that figure in? For some locations of the Delta, more of an issue there as we look by especially your Thursday, but really Friday and Saturday, that's creeping back up. So hour-by-hour forecast on Wednesday, from the low 70s in the morning, we're 88 degrees by noontime, 89 for the high as we head into the afternoon, and mid-80s there, upper 80s still at 5 p.m. We're keeping the rain coverage less than 20%, a rogue shower not impossible, but the vast majority of us probably dry. Again, mainly dry Thursday, mainly dry Friday, with slightly better rain chances into the weekend. Caleb and I debated whether or not we were going to drop that 20% on Saturday. We can make a really good argument we're still dry on Saturday. We might pull that coming up for our 6 o'clock broadcast. But the takeaway is if you're looking for meaningful moisture, pop-ups might get you something, but I'm not counting on much the next few days as we're keeping it still fairly dry. I mean, even when we look at that extended forecast there, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, when I show 30% coverage of rainfall, that means 70% of us aren't seeing anything. And that 20% on Monday is 80% of us aren't seeing anything kind of at peak time period. So that is why, again, it is mainly dry and it is certainly warmer into and through that extended forecast because of that. I mean, normal this time of year, about 93. We're back up to those values as we look toward the latter part of the weekend. Of course, you can stay up to date with our latest forecast on the go, the Mississippi Live Weather app, which is probably in the palm of your hand right now, free and available for all those different devices. If you happen to be watching us on Facebook, and Facebook's still a great way to interact with us. If you like the interaction, we of course love that as well with the comments that you send in. But probably the easiest way to find us in the quickest hurry is using the Mississippi Live Weather app. As you can see, they're free and available for all those different devices. I appreciate all the folks there in Pontotoc and Corinth and all around the region that are joining us here and commenting on Facebook as well as YouTube about what's going on. We love to hear your feedback, your comments, and so thank you so much for supporting us here on Mississippi Live Weather. Our next broadcast is at 6 p.m., so keep it here for the latest, and we'll, I think, give you another tour of the sky cams around the region as we go into this evening. And Mississippi Live Weather at 6, we'll see you then. Of course, send in those weather pictures. We'd love to share those with you. We'll be looking at the tropics, and in particular, related to Dexter, where it's going, and of course, our entire extended forecast. So see you at 6.
You need some help?
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire. I could show you how to secure them properly if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.